Drawing Breath is a series of interviews with humans telling interesting stories. If you would like to support this channel, please interact with the social media platform that you're using. And now, Michael Lagocki tells us a story of floating on a lake in Italy with our childhood hero, Bill Sienkiewicz.
So I had the pleasure of meeting Bill Sienkiewicz in Lake Como, Italy for the Lake Como Comic Arts Festival. And that is an incredible, for people who are into original art, it's kind of like the Shangri-La of international shows. You get a chance to go to like this beautiful estate in Italy. Just Lake Como is an amazing part of Italy, probably the most beautiful place I've ever been in my life, honestly. And Cernobbio, Italy, is the town where this festival happens. I think they do it pretty much every year, and all it is comic artists. So there's not dealers. There's not well. There's a little bit of dealers, but there's no publishers. It's not like did like a lot of cons. It's a lot of people selling merch and stuff like that. This isn't that. This is like 100% about people who are really, really enthusiastic about comic book art and original comic book illustrators. The lineup is always utterly ridiculous in terms of some of there'll be about 70 guests there usually, I think is around the number that they do. And it was always my bucket list con that I really, really wanted to attend in my life, or one of the bucket list experiences in my life that I absolutely wanted to experience. And I had someone special to me make that dream come true. It's a very limited thing, but it's intended to be so that you can actually hang out with artists and not just meet them for seconds. The whole point of it is that you get to actually get real time with them. So, man, it was just an amazing con, and I'm meeting all these people that I've been fans of my whole life, and like I said, getting to spend real time with them. People like Charles Vess or Frank Cho, and I had a absolutely wonderful experience with Frank Whiteley. Well, Bill Sienkiewicz, I got a chance to hang out with him because we became friends with Susan Carlin, who works with him. She's just an incredible person. So we were asked to go hit up Lake Como, Italy, and take ferries and tour around the most beautiful place on the earth with Bill Sienkiewicz and Susan. And God, that was just one of my favorite days of my entire life. They're both like incredibly cool people, and each of them has just great personality and are fun to hang out with. And Bill was like legitimately interested in getting to know me and talking to me. We had some real time together. Where this is why I'm painting, by the way, because Bill is primarily a painter. And one thing I should have said when we were talking about the con is that he is like the star of the show in a show full of stars. Like the whole thing, yeah, like the whole thing with Lake Como is like crazy, and like your favorite artists are all there, and I do mean like 70 of them, right? It's like an insane lineup. And but who has the biggest line in the show? Constantly Bill. And one of the reasons is because he paints live, and he's just fast and he does stuff. So he's got a lot of pieces. He's a big deal. His name is on the outside of the building when you show up to the con and stuff in giant letters. And the two big names that they're pushing there are Alex Ross and Bill. Alex didn't actually show up for the con, but his representatives were there and his artwork was there. But Bill was there, and he was, like I said, he was doing a lot of live painting and stuff like that. And so it just blew him away. And Bill's like a workaholic, man. He just knocks out these beautiful paintings during the con because people buy very pricey commissions. Well, not that they're not worth it, they're worth it. But they spend some money to get Bill Sienkiewicz to do either a live piece or a piece that he goes home at night and works on. So anyway, that's paint. That's why I brought out the paintbrushes for this one. So some of my favorite works by him include he did a graphic novel on Jimi Hendrix that is just to die for. Unfortunately, I don't think it's in print anymore. But if you can find a copy of the autobiography of Jimi Hendrix with artwork by Bill Sienkiewicz, I think you should check it out because the painting in it is absolutely beautiful. It's to die for. And of course, he's known for doing things like New Mutants, especially, but also Moon Knight. And he did some really, really beautiful work on Sandman too, and in I think it's called Endless Nights, the thing where they had a different artist do each of the Endless, and he did Delirium, and it's pretty epic actually. So we got to hang out with him for the whole day, and he was incredibly nice. And I can remember talking to him about things like my dog, who had recently died at that time, and it was a really, really big deal to me. And Bill was real empathetic about that. And also my dad. We talked about my dad who had passed as well. Bill was real interested in how I learned my living through scribing. He thought it was the coolest thing in the world when I showed him some scribing examples. We had a long conversation about a comic artist who had died recently. Ed Piskor had died just around this time. And then we also had a conversation about Howard Chaykin, who is friends with Bill. And, I had commented that I thought Howard had gotten unfairly vilified because, like, his characters did things that were distasteful. And Bill agreed. And we probably talked about a couple other artists at the time. I mentioned to him that I'm sure I mentioned to him that I had been mentored a bit by Paul Smith, which I know he thought was cool. And just, unfortunately, like a lot of people who are successful in art, they don't get to necessarily read every comic that was out. So he was, he was particularly interested in me talking to him about some of the new guys that he absolutely had to read, and people that he should follow. I know we talked about Chris Bachalo, who he wasn't unfamiliar with Chris Bachalo, but there's some of the other ones, some of the newer ones he was unfamiliar with. And so I just talked to him about some of the people in recent years whose work I thought was really worth checking out, and some of the series that I thought was worth reading too. I remember I told him he should read Planetary, that it was arguably one of my favorites of all time, and that I thought the storytelling on it was fantastic and consistent and everything like that. Just the great moments that happened in that week and the week surrounding it too. And Italy's my favorite place on the earth, and what better way to enjoy it than to hang out with one of your favorite comic artists who ever lived. I just remember being on a ferry with him and having like very real conversations about things that were actually meaningful and important. And he treated me with a lot of kindness and a lot of respect, and one of the great days of my life, man.
Drawing Breath is a series of interviews with humans telling interesting stories. If you would like to support this channel, please interact with the social media platform that you're using.